What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the quarantine zone again, and this time we are here with Trae of Mouth for War. Thank you so much for being here today, man. It's great to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm stoked to have you here because the new album, Life Cast in Glass, is absolutely brutal, absolutely smasher of a record, and I cannot wait to hear this stuff on the Body Snatcher tour coming up. Do you just want to talk about how the making of this record was, being that this was the debut full length? Was there kind of like a preconceived idea that you were evolving around? How did Life Cast in Glass sort of come to be?
Um, Man, that's honestly a pretty loaded question. A lot of bad and horrible things happened to us at the beginning of writing this album that literally just turned it into a completely new beast. We definitely went into it um, even before the pandemic happened to everybody. We went into it with an idea of what we wanted, but at the very beginning of writing, my sister actually passed away, and even if I had a choice, I think it couldn't have came out of me the way it did if something tragic hadn't happened. I think you can hear the passion in it, if that makes sense. But most of what happened with that album was brought together because of my sister, and kind of quickly, honestly.
Mm. First of all, my deepest condolences for your loss, and I know that pain is often it's a fuel for creativity, and often this music expresses as an outlet. So is it fair to say that the original intention was to maybe make a continuation of an ear kept to the ground EP, but then then obviously because of what happened, changes there was a lot of changes and a complete change of plans.
Um, Kind of. I think that between me, because I actually write all the music, between me writing that EP, we kind of sat on it for a while before some of us moved to Colorado and actually formed a full band. I think that all of us changed a lot, and we already knew that it was going to be something super different, and kind of had a rounded idea of what that would be, while keeping some of the stuff that we did create in the EP, like the syncopated breakdown sounds and stuff. But mostly, maybe I'd say, trying to take on a little bit of a groove metal stance that punches forward a little more, like Lamb of God was probably one of our big influences on this, but wasn't on the EP. And I think that brought a lot of new sounds in.
Hmm. And obviously, personal experiences and trials and tribulations, especially with something as tragic as loss, influences the lyricism and what's being stated on the album. But do you feel that this also influenced the music itself in a way?
Oh yeah, definitely on both fronts there. Um, just the writing element became darker, like almost immediately, and I think we're all happy with how that came together for sure. And then the lyrical content just set it off over the top of the already aggressive sounds that we made.
And I always feel kind of bad for asking this. I've interviewed a lot of artists who where certain hardships have influenced the songwriting, but does would you say that some artists, I get different answers for this. They say sometimes, when darkness plagues them, that it makes the songwriting a much easier because it gives them a source of inspiration, but others say it's much harder because it actually makes it more painful to go into an outlet that was meant for relieving stress to begin with. Was for you, was this a little bit more difficult to write this, or was this maybe bringing closure to it?
Um, Honestly, I could say a lot of both. It definitely made the songs come out much more naturally and quickly, but when it came down to writing lyrical content, it kind of made it take a little longer because I would get a few lines in and then really process what I was writing, and it would fuck me up for like a whole night. And so I would definitely say a little bit of both on that, but more so made it easier in a way, probably on the easier side, just because I, like I know a lot of people, I don't do anything but music. I play music, I write music, and I sit on my computer, record music for other people. All my friends play games and watch movies, but that was all I had. That's all I did. So when I came home from my sister's funeral, it was just go to the computer and just do it and see what happens. And yeah, it definitely fell out easier in that sense.
Do you think that maybe exploring this, because every artist says with every album that they create, every song that they write, that they learned something new, and an artist never stops learning. It's just scientifically impossible. So, do you think that this album maybe opened up new doors for Mouth for War in the future in a way?
Definitely. Yeah, I think for sure. We did a lot of different stuff that we probably wouldn't have done. Um, that open up doors to where we can kind of mix it around genre wise and open up different tour offers for us and stuff, which I think is really cool. I think our pain and mixed with quarantining, whether we wanted to or not, made us really dig deep into what we were doing. And I think that's definitely going to help us push forward later now that things are coming back together.
Yeah. And I think you're very much right in what you say, because I could see people who listen to like Whitechapel or Suicide Silence appreciate Mouth for War or the Acacia Strain, but like I see Code Orange fans or Twitching Tongues fans or Harm's Way fans appreciating this, but I do see a lot of, I mean, Mouth for War. I could see a lot of Pantera fans instantly taking interest just in the name of the band. But like, I do think you could do a tour with Lamb of God, or you could do a tour with like a thrash band or a hardcore band or even a death metal band. I think that you could really apply your sound to multiple audiences.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what I was thinking.
Is the goal of your music to kind of leave it open to interpretation, or do you kind of want a listener to sort of see things from your point of view, or maybe or use your music to have a listener put themselves in your shoes?
um, as far as lyrical content, or
Yeah, lyrics or music, it could go either way.
a little bit of both. I think that I write my lyrics in a way that make them open for interpretation, to where they could apply to a lot of situations that people are going through. But at the same time, I think I made it really clear to a lot of people what the record was about. And I think that if you listen and pay attention, you can figure out what it's about too. And I a big goal was definitely in hopes to help somebody get through something similar. And I've honestly had a lot of people say that it did. I had a guy stop me literally right before we started playing. This guy made me fucking cry because he told me his wife passed away, and that our album was the only thing that got him to the show. And that's all I could literally ever ask for.
Yeah, it's really I feel like the number one thing, maybe not the number one, but one of the most important things that music does is make people realize that they're not alone, and that the artists that we admire or the artists that we listen to that just get us through the day are the same people who are going through similar experiences. And then when you go see them at a show, you realize that they're just as human as you are, and that they all feel the same emotions, and both are using the music as an outlet to get them through whatever experiences they're going through.
Exactly. And just hearing stuff like that, just the album alone was worth it for me. Just getting to play these songs one time, I feel like a different person. I feel like I got to say everything I needed to say. So if these songs that I sat in my basement and made are doing the same thing for somebody else, then that's amazing to me.
In order to like get that inspiration, because the artistic drive is like a form of energy, does the energy like strike when you least expect it, or do you have like a usual place like a basement that you go to in order to like collect and cultivate new ideas?
Um, for the most part, yeah, I take myself to the basement, but just like a lot of people, it a lot of times strikes when you don't really want it to. When I'm at the store or something and something hits in my brain, that's where I feel like, as long as or along with a lot of other people, I feel like is where I probably lose a lot of my best ideas, unfortunately, because they're just in my head and I don't make it home soon enough before I hear something else on the radio. But um, I feel like I'm good at collecting that stuff, and then I take myself into my studio space, which is the basement, and try to put a lot of things together over time, just recording small bits and stuff until things fit where we feel like they fit.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's my prime creative space there.
yeah. It always sucks when inspiration strikes at like the most inconvenient times.
Definitely. I had one yesterday that I was like, oh, that's the riff. That's the one that starts the new album, and it's gone. I don't remember it at all.
As a songwriter, do you always start a song off from like the similar thing? Does it always start off with a riff or a lyrical idea or a rhythm, or do you approach each song maybe from a different angle?
I would say most of them are definitely approached from a different angle. Um, Thinking back now that probably heard that question for the first time now, pretty much every song on the record was probably written a little bit differently. There are a few songs where I started from the beginning like you would think somebody would. There's probably 5 to 6 songs where I started because I thought of a really cool breakdown that I thought should be in the middle of a song and built outwards from it. But um, yeah, I think it really swaps up. Sometimes it could be like a one liner idea where I'm hearing like a certain pattern behind it. But a lot of times it's just like, I thought of this part. I'm going to put it on the screen and see if something goes before or after it, or if we don't use it at all. And then something happens sooner or later.
Yeah, the opening for "Take My Place," that's my favorite song on the album, and like it's just goosebump inducing. Like it almost, you almost feel it like pull you into another realm before everything hits.
That's sick. That's definitely like one of all of our favorites. That was specifically one that came together a lot different because the others, um, I think there might not be any other riffs on the record that I didn't write except the intro to that song. Our guitarist Gabe sent me that high lead, and then there was like a bunch of other stuff going on behind it. And I was like, "That's super cool. Send me just that lead, and I'm going to send you something back." And it all just came together like that pretty quick. That was also the first or second song that we wrote for the record way long ago. And at the time we wrote it and we were like, oh, this is going to be the one that we like don't play live. It's like a weird ass song. Then we put the album out and we're like, yeah, that's not happening. We got to play this song. This shit's fun.
You're gonna play it on the Body Snatcher tour, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, please, please. I need to hear this song live. But it almost seems like though I never understood like with like songwriting as well. Like a lot of people assume like when they hear like the intro and then the first verse and then the chorus, like it was all written chronologically sometimes, but that's not the case a lot, right? It's like sometimes you start off with the chorus, or I mean there's some songs that like just start off with the solo and then everything builds around that.
Yeah, literally. I know specifically Manifesting You came about with me writing that first breakdown. Just I was like, dude, that sounds insane. What are we going to do with this? It's got to go somewhere. And it kind of built on that faster part where our guitarist came down and was sitting with me and was just like, oh, well, in the next part, you should just do like this thing. And like it was back and forth where I was like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about, until we added that one little extra note the second time the breakdown comes in. And it just turned it into something completely different just from that one little pick apart that took us 45 minutes to figure out what he was saying. So, and then everything was built around that. So it was a breakdown and then a big pause and then another breakdown. We had to figure out how to fill those gaps.
Well, here comes then the most difficult question of the interview. Are you ready?
Probably not. Let's see.
No, just because you have a song like "Selfish" that's less than 2 minutes long, but then you have a song like "I Don't Want to Feel It All" that's like just teetering on the lines of being 4 minutes, and then you have a song like "Tedium" that's just a minute. So how does Mouth for War know when a song is done?
um, that's a hard one. I don't know. Um, I think we just play it out in a lot of different ways. I think a lot of times we'll find a place when making demos that we think might not be the end, and we just sit on it on purpose and keep listening to just the demo where it cuts. Um, it's just a lot of listening, really. I kind of write until I feel like I can't write anymore, and sometimes you just hear that spot where you're like, okay, yeah, that's the right place. But a lot of times it's just sitting on it, listening to the demos a lot, and um, trying to figure out how to wrap things up without it just stopping, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, fair enough. And that was a very articulate answer. I appreciate not getting the a song is never finished answer. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually keep tally marks of every time somebody gives me that answer, and I'm running out of room on both sides of the page now.
Oh
So
God. I wouldn't have even thought of that answer. So
I'm very very glad. And please, if somebody else asks you that, don't use that answer.
okay, I'll keep that one.
Yeah. Um, and the final question I wanted to ask you is I'm going to be seeing Mouth for War for the first time live soon. And I'm very excited to hear these songs live. Is there maybe a similar energy that you channel into your live presence as you do when you're songwriting? Or do you consider songwriting and playing live almost two completely separate arts that may not even be related to each other?
Um, they're definitely related, but I would definitely say they're two very separate arts. And I think a lot of people that listen to Mouth for War are going to realize that when they see us pretty quickly, that we create kind of a terrifying and uncomfortable energy from the very beginning of our set, and we never stop making sound. We don't waste any time talking, and we also we do a weird thing. I mean, every band naturally plays their songs faster live. Everybody does it. People that don't play the clicks, but we sit down and we set out our set with the album clicks, and we make a live track clicks. So everything is set how I feel it should be, bouncy and faster live. So it's going to feel a little bit more punched in, and there's a lot of like really weird sounds and stuff that we don't use in the album that are in our live set. That's just a totally different kind of intense monster for sure. And I'm excited to go and show everybody that.
Do you like maybe shuffle the set list as well? Like it's not like you're gonna start off with Shape in the Dark and end the set with What's Done is Done. It's like it almost seems like you're gonna play the songs in different orders and stuff. Does that almost maybe change the context or maybe the narrative of the album in a way as well?
Yeah, a little bit. Because just like every band, we put the album in a certain order on purpose. But definitely every time we play either a different show or a different tour, we make a new set list that we sit down and we think about what we're doing on purpose and how everything's going to flow together and how it's going to feel. So yeah. And actually, we are opening with Shape in the Dark on that tour, but we just think that's the one to blast off with for this tour. We haven't been for our other shows. We've actually been playing Take My Place first, but I think that's that's like a shotgun to the head as soon as we start, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, what I love about these shows like a package like the Body Snatcher package and like a lot of these hardcore shows is there's been a lot of metal concerts. I'm not going to mention the genre, but I'm pretty sure people could get an idea that a lot of times when there's an opening band or something there it's just so static the whole time and like people are just like okay, come on, hurry up, get to the headliner, I gotta work tomorrow. But like for every single hardcore show, and I don't even know if you label yourselves in that category, but like for every single like hardcore show or real aggressive show, the audience is going all at it from the first note of the opening band till the end.
Oh yeah, that's how it's been. Um, I even at the beginning of the pandemic, when everybody was worried how things would be when it came back, I told a million people that I think it's going to cause a really big boom in every genre, and we were proving that from our very first show back in over a year and a half. My fiance's band actually opened the show. They hadn't played in forever, obviously, and I played a sample before they started, and literally the whole room was moshing, and they hadn't even hit a note on the guitar yet. So I think that everyone, literally everywhere, is just ready.
I was at that Madball show in New York City that was so infamous, and I could tell you people are more than ready.
Oh, that looked like a good time.
Oh, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I can literally imagine.
Yeah, that wasn't a walk in the park, if you know what I mean. That was pretty intense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's sick.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today and for a real great conversation. Is there just anything else with Mouth Forward that you would like to promote for the release of this record cycle, aside from the Body Snatcher tour coming up?
Um, all I know, all I can say is if you're in Colorado, you can come out to Beach Bash on July 31st. But I'm not even sure if this will be out by then.
It'll be up in like a couple hours.
Oh, sick! That's cool.
Yep. So I'm excited for that. And the venue you're playing in New York City as well, or in Brooklyn, is a new venue as well. So get ready to demolish the hell out of that new venue.
I'm stoked. It looks really big, but I'm stoked.
It's well, funny little story. It's owned by another. It's owned by the same owner as the Kingsland in Brooklyn, which Body Snatcher has played at numerous times. And there was a show where it was Body Snatcher and Ingested. And I remember going out for a cigarette in the middle of the show and hearing one of the people who worked there like just come out. I'm not even kidding. It sounds like I'm making it up. But he's like, "Dude, the wall is missing." I'm like, I don't mean to intervene, but like, how does the wall go missing? The wall doesn't just go missing like that. So,
That sounds wild. Yeah, I'm stoked to drop in. We've also never played in like actual New York, so we played in a bunch of like weird upstate New York places. So I'm stoked.
oh yeah, it's gonna be sane, the hardcore capital of the world. But th-
Yeah.
thank you so much, Trey. Everybody, Trae of Mouth for War. Be sure to check out the brand new album, Life Cast in Glass. It is absolutely badass. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.